Good morning, children. My name is Miss Margie, and I'm going to tell you an exciting story today. And you know what? Afterwards, I'm going to teach you how to draw the story. Whether your name is Nicholas or Catherine or whoever you are, very welcome to listen to the story. I think you're going to enjoy it. You might even have heard it before, but in a different form. Once upon a time, in a little cottage on the edge of a forest, lived a mom and dad and their darling little daughter. The dad was the woodcutter in the forest, and mom stayed at home to clean and tidy and make food. And she had her mother, who was the little girl's granny, living in a little cottage on the other side of the forest. And she often used to send the little girl with a basket of lovely fresh muffins and bread to the other side to give to her grandma, who wasn't feeling all that well at the moment. You know, I don't know what the little girl's name was, but because her mom made her a wonderful little red cape with a hoodie to keep her warm and dry when she was outside playing, we all called her Little Red Riding Hood. She was a lovely little girl. She was kind and used to help her parents, and she used to pick flowers in the forest, and she did all her lessons, and she did as she was told. She went to bed after she'd finished her dinner. And one day her mum called her and she said, "Little Red Riding Hood, I want you to go to your grandma's house on the other side of the forest. Dad is around there chopping trees down for the paper mill, but I don't want you to talk to any strangers on the way. Be careful, because Mr. Wolf comes here sometimes and he always wants to eat food that's in that basket. So just keep it covered up and don't talk to him if he's there." "Righto, Mom," said Little Red Riding Hood. And she went, she took the basket, and on the way in the forest she picked some lovely flowers for her mom, for her grandma too. And she was humming away when she noticed a nose round the tree. Oh, she remembered what her mom had said. "That is the big wolf. I mustn't talk to him." So she looked the other way and she walked. But Mr. Wolf was far too sly for that. He came out and he said, "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood, and where are you going?" She wouldn't say anything, but he saw her basket of goodies and he saw her bunch of flowers, so he said, "I know, Red Riding Hood, you're going to take that lovely food to your grandma, aren't you?" So Little Red Riding Hood didn't want to be too unkind, so she said, "Yes, but you go away, Mr. Wolf, go and do your own stuff and just leave me alone." So he said, "I'll tell you what, I will take the long road and visit your grandma too, and you take the shortcut and you'll get there first." But he was such a clever old wolf. He took the shortcut and he made Little Red Riding Hood go the long way. And she went singing and skipping and running to her grandma's house. But the wolf got there first. And when Mr. Wolf came to the little house, he went knock, 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 knock on the door. And Grandma was actually expecting Red Riding Hood, so she said, "Oh, Red Riding Hood, just lift up the latch and come in, my dear. I'll be so happy to see you." And of course, who lifted up the latch and walked in? None other than nasty old Mr. Wolf, who was always looking for food. And she said, "Oh no, Mr. Wolf, go away, I've got nothing to give you." He said, "Grandma, I know that you're going to get some lovely food. So come on, you've got to come and hide away in this closet." And he made poor old Grandma get out of bed and go and get into the closet, and he locked the door. He said, "Now don't worry, Grandma, you just be quiet and I'll unlock you when Red Riding Hood's gone." And he put on Grandma's funny old bonnet that she used to sleep in. Remember, she was old. And he put on his spectacles and he got into bed and he pulled the sheets right up, and suddenly there was knock, knock, knock on the door. Who do you think that was? Of course, that was Little Red Riding Hood. "Grandma, Grandma, can I come in?" "Yes, my dear," said the wolf, trying to be all squeaky. "You can come in. Just lift up the latch and walk in." So she so excitedly picked up the basket and the flowers, and she lifted the latch and walked in, and she said, "Hello, Grandma. Oh my goodness, Grandma, but you are looking so sick today." And the wolf had the blankets right up to his nose. And he said, "Yes, I'm not feeling well. I just want some nice muffins and they'll make me feel good." And she said, "Okay, Grandma." "Oh, but Grandma, how big your eyes are today." And he said, "I know, my dear. It's all the better to see you with." And she said, "But Grandma, your nose is long and pointy today. You can't be feeling well." He said, "No, I've been sneezing for 2 days and that's why my nose is big. But don't worry, it's all the better to smell you with, my dear." And then she said, "Okay, Grandma." And she took out the muffins and she took the paper off the muffin and she said, "Here are, Grandma, have one right now." With that, Mr. Wolf forgot about his ugly, sharp, terrible teeth. And he opened his mouth big and wide. And she drew her hand back. She said, "But Grandma, what big teeth you've got." And he said, "Yes, Red Riding Hood, all the better to eat those muffins and the fresh bread that your mom sent your grandma." And he grabbed the basket and Red Riding Hood shrieked. She said, "Oh no, those are for my grandma, not you, Mr. Wolf. How did you get here?" And he jumped out of the bed and he ran with the basket and he ran round and round the room. And Little Red Riding Hood was trying to chase him to get the basket back to give to her grandma. And nearby her daddy heard her shrieking. So he opened the door and he said, "What's going on in here?" Daddy, quickly, the wolf's taken my basket and that's food for Grandma." And Dad, who was big and strong and clever, said, "Come on, Mr. Wolf." And he grabbed the basket from him and he said, "Go to your own house and never come back again." And Mr. Wolf felt very embarrassed and very ashamed, and he went along with tears coming out of his eyes, and he said, "I'm very sorry," and he went away. And then they heard knock, knock, knock on the door of the closet. "Oh, Grandma!" The woodcutter went and he opened the door and he helped Grandma out. And oh dear, they were so happy to be together that they put all the food on a little table, and Daddy, the woodcutter, Red Riding Hood and Grandma had a lovely picnic on the table. They ate the muffins and the bread and the jelly and the tea that Mum had sent them. And Little Red Riding Hood went back home with her daddy, and they lived happily ever after.